start sharing. So we have first group Janaki, Pragya, Kalpana, Navita, Davis, and Krati. Over to you. All the best.
Pragya is not there, by the way, Aparna.
Who?
Pragya.
Pragya.
No problem. So I will mark her accordingly.
Is my screen visible to everybody?
Only thing is this, keep it in mind our timings, right? So as every team, we have decided that we will give 25 minutes. So I will keep the timer on.
Screen is up.
My screen is visible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead, Kalpana.
I'm starting. Good evening, everyone. We are Team Oneness, and the topic for today's presentation is diversity and inclusion. Let me thank you all for coming today and be a part of this group. Team Oneness. Before I start the presentation, here is a very wonderful quote by a very famous author, Catherine Pulsifier. We are all different, which is great because we are unique. Without diversity, life would be very boring. Here is a very quick introduction of our team. We are Team Oneness, which is a group of individuals who have self-driven personalities coming from backgrounds like HR, engineering, legal, and hospitality. I am Kalpana Garg. I have a legal and engineering background. In my free time, I love to play online games and read.
Hi, I'm Krati. I am a resident of India, and I'm proud to say that I've been born and brought up in one part, grown in the other, and now residing in the third part of the country. In my free time, I like to read books, travel, and cook food.
Good evening, all. My name is Navita Baba. I was born and raised in Delhi-based Punjabi family. Having more than 16 years of experience in BPO, hospitality, beauty industry, sales, admin, and finally settled for HR and loving it. I enjoy spending time with my kids. They are the booster dose of my energy. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Janaki here. I'm from Kerala. So basically a Malayali born and brought up in Kerala itself. I come from an HR profile as of now. I've been into the HR profile only for a year now. So this is kind of like the first training session that I have officially attended. So thank you, Aparna, for a great session. It was a huge experience and great learning. In my free time and as my hobby, I enjoy doing crocheting. So that's pretty much about me. Over to you, Davis.
Thank you, Janaki. My name is Davis, and I'm a passionate marathoner and a DJ. In my professional life, I have pursued MBA HR, and I have over 20 years of experience. I have worked with media industry, IT, food retail, duty-free retail, retail apparel and fabric, now real estate. And now I'm with Raymond Real Estate. Over to you, Navita.
Thank you so much, Davis. As Kalpana rightly mentioned about D&I in the beginning, diversity is a mix and inclusion is making the mix work. Diversity is the fact or quality of being different from different race, color, religion, values, or having unique characteristics. Inclusion is an art of acceptance of this diversity and value them. It's about how well the contributions, presence, and perspective of different group of people are valued and integrated into our environment. There are many dimensions to diversity, to name few: age, race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, physical attributes, education, job title, function, skills, disability, height and weight, marital status, language, etc. So we need to understand why diversity matters. Diversity is more than these differences. It's about respecting, appreciating, understanding, and most importantly, accepting these various characteristics. Every individual carries uniqueness, and hence a single person cannot be a representative of a group. And if we believe so, these biases can be damaging to the business. A diverse and inclusive workplace is one that makes everyone, regardless who they are, what they do for the business, feel equally and involved in and supported in all the areas of the workplace.
Thank you, Navita.
Yeah, I would request Kalpana to take forward and discuss how a big name called Wipro embraced diversity and inclusion.
So we have chosen Wipro. It's a big conglomerate, and it has actually become a benchmark for D&I activities in most of the software as well as bigger companies. So Wipro is a global IT consulting service company. It was incorporated in the year 1945. As of now, it has 250,000 employees representing 133 nationalities across 66 countries. D&I initiative in Wipro was launched in the year 2008. Wipro always believes that nurturing inclusivity is a way of life. They are trying to integrate all aspects of diversity, including gender, LGBT, race, ethnicity, even diversity of thought, generational diversity, supplier diversity into their system so that they can maximize the value of business. At Wipro, they believe that recognizing the differences of individual is not only going to help Wipro flourish in the business, but they are stakeholder also. They believe in honestly engaging, understanding, and drawing on a variety of unique perspectives which the different individuals bring to the business to flourish. They have created an equitable workplace where every individual is respected with fairness. Wipro believes that if it focuses its efforts in the space of gender inclusion, disability inclusion, and LGBT inclusion, as well as racial ethnicity, it will create an inclusive environment where everybody is welcome and will have a sense of belonging. Wipro has been doing, since I mentioned, Wipro has been doing the D&I activities since 2008. It has become a key priority for Wipro to have a diverse and inclusive culture. In Wipro, there is an ongoing quarterly activity where leadership engages with the employees on the D&I initiative. They have institutionalized an e-learning module where employees are supposed to undergo this module to understand what kind of unconscious biases are placed in the workplace and how they can overcome it. As of now, over 75% of the employees have completed this unconscious bias e-module. Wipro has been mentoring their leadership to ensure that they are actively mitigating the impacts of bias in the workplace and to have more inclusive and diverse teams in Wipro. Now I'll be taking two of the initiatives for D&I which Wipro has been undertaking over the years. The first one is gender inclusion. Gender inclusion in Wipro is driven by three core principles, that is exposure, flexibility, and empowerment. Wipro believes that at every stage of women for their personal and professional life, they are going through three stages. First is exposure. They will be going through a phase where their ambition needs to be fueled. For that, they have networking programs, for example, Women at Wipro, which is available at every location for networking, for mentoring, and for job rotation. Flexibility is helping the women who are returning back from maternity leaves to share their work-life balance, to have responsibility so that they can focus on the work on their kids as well as their professional life. Third part is empowerment. Once the first two stages are done away with, at the third stage they are actually mentoring women to join the leadership program so that their leadership increases by 20% till 2025. That is the initiative which Wipro is taking. As of now, if we see on the figures on the screen, Wipro has been steadily increasing the representation of women at every stage. From FY21 to FY22, we see a sharp increase. If we see, it was 7.3, 10, as well as 19, and it has risen steadily to 12.4, 11.3, and 21.8%. Disability inclusion. Wipro believes that a person should only be hired on the basis of merit, not disability. And that's what they have done as a hiring criteria for Wipro. What they believe is that every person should have equal opportunity for every job opening that happens in Wipro. For that, they are running 5 initiatives, which include collaborating with colleges who have more than 5% of population having disabilities. Barrier-free infrastructure, including buildings which are disability code compliant. So all the employees who are working there will not have any kind of issue accessing those buildings. Barrier-free communication. They have kinesics, which helps employee to understand sign language, engagement, engaging with statutory bodies. Like one of the key example which Wipro has taken is, out of 5 members from India who were representing disabled institution from India at UN, one of them was Wiproite in advocacy, making movies and sponsoring movies for disability inclusion. That is what Wipro has been doing over the years. As of now, Wipro has provided tax exemptions to 300 employees, and they have developed more than 70 apps and 15 training courses, which are accessibility compliant. As part of their initiatives, around 700 employees have voluntarily made disclosures regarding their disability. Now I'm going to give it to Janki, who is going to take forward more initiatives taken by Wipro. Janki?
Thank you, Kalpana. Yes, thank you. So hello, everyone. I'm Janaki here. So to carry on with the more factors on the inclusion part or the case study that we have done on Wipro, with the LGBT inclusion, I guess it's a very hotly debated and discussed topic even now, though it had been started and it had been prevailing since the early 90s. Now, did you all know that earlier yesterday, the Supreme Court of India issued notices seeking recognition of marriage within the LGBT community as a fundamental right of India. So today, when speaking about LGBTQ, I guess we are right on the mark, and it's a worthwhile subject. Well, there's plenty more to be done, a lot more to be changed, and a lot more to be learned. However, while this is happening, let's come back to our case study here. So how has Wipro been handling it? So I'll be taking you through quite a number of scenarios on what all initiatives have been happening in Wipro. So it's been noted in the case study that Wipro has taken a top priority for workplace safety, especially for the LGBTQ community at their workplaces. Their approach is more in the lines of prevention, elimination, and redressal of the LGBTQ discrimination that happens in the workplace. It's done to raise awareness and continuous sensitization for the employees. Now, how it is done is by placing in policies every now and then. Now, the recent policy that was put in place was a global policy of the prevention of LGBTQ discrimination, and it was forward in the year 2021. It aims to protect their employees from any form of bias or any discrimination. Now, they also have a self-declaration form. I'm not sure on how many companies actually follow this process, which is actually coming out as a great example, wherein Wiproites, they're encouraged to declare their gender, their sexual orientation, and preferred pronouns. And it seems that a survey that was conducted later and after the form was put in place, about 1,136 employees had willingly come forward to actually share their idea and to share their identity with the outside world. Moving on, let me show you another case study. So this is basically, yes, Kalpana, could you please move on to the next one? Yes, thank you. So we've got 2 more initiatives that we'll be looking into. One is the Black Alliance. The Black Alliance is basically being done by the Wipro company in US, and specifically this is an employee resource group. What happens in the employee resource group is it aims to foster a diverse and inclusive work environment on the current as well as future Black and African American employees. This was established back in 2020. And also as part of this, they try to bring in the impact right from the point of recruitment, like candidates from historically Black colleges and universities are hired in. They also promote internship opportunities for such talents. Moving further, we can move on to the next slide, Kalpana.
Yes.
Moving forward, I guess we'll have to talk about the inclusion and diversity opportunities for vendors. Here, Wipro actually has put across WINDOW, which is a conclave, which means Wipro's inclusion and diversity opportunity for vendors, which has shown a 5-fold increase in the pool of certified diverse suppliers globally. Another initiative is the Wipro Inclusive Supplier. What they do is that they include development and mentorship programs to provide management and technical support to their suppliers. This is merely an example which we could probably cite out where companies usually plan and support on just their direct employees. But here Wipro is setting up as an example where it is being spread out to the wider world and being inclusive of their suppliers and the counterparts too. Moving on, let's have a quick look at what their employee experience survey mechanism has brought to light. Yes, here we have the survey results. You could probably read from the slide itself, but again, to put it all in a nutshell, I would bring it to one point and say that when the survey was sent out, we got to realize that about 75% of the employees with Wipro confirmed that they feel valued and they feel respected in the work environments. So that's all thanks to the ever-evolving and improved activities that has been taken up by Wipro. To sum it all up, I guess it's worthwhile to show the recognition and the celebrations of what has happened with all these efforts that Wipro has been taking. So Wipro had been included for 3 consecutive years since 2020 in the Bloomberg Gender Equality Index. And their efforts are continuously being improved, and that can be actually understood by their progress in the Silver Employee Award that they won in 2020, and which then became the Gold Employer Award in 2021 for their LGBTQ inclusion activities. Just one more feather to their hat of inclusive achievements. Now, in the recent past, we have heard about multiple corporates who faced employee walkouts. I guess probably you all would have read it in Google or in the news. Probably these walkouts used to happen because the employees start protesting the way in which companies handle cases of sexual harassment and cases of other grievances where it's not addressed in the proper way. Now, on the contrary, with this case study, it was very enlightening for each one of us in the team that Wipro had come a long way and set the path for many more to follow, but deeply being committed and sustaining and embedding inclusion and diversity. So that's all with the case study of Wipro. Let me hand over to Davis and Krati to share more insights.
So thank you, Janaki, and thank you, Kalpana, for sharing that insight on Wipro and how they are aligned to the entire inclusive and diversity workforce. So I'll start off with saying this in Hindi. थोड़ा तू अलग थोड़ा मैं अलग कहने के लिए कितना आसान है, सोचा कभी एक है हम क्योंकि पहले हम इंसान हैं. So with that, I want to start the second session of the entire presentation. Here we have put across some masalas around saying that while we cook, the inclusion and diversity comes into play. What do you think, all of you think? I hope everybody cooks at home, right? I can't hear anybody.
Can I, Davis?
All
Yeah.
good spices make one good dish.
Yes, so that is the point where I want to bring in here. And I wanted to share one personal example before I start off what's there in the slide. When I was working in a company called Protouch in 2007, I was unknowingly working on inclusion and diversity. Why? Because the Protouch as a concept was a Singapore-based company, and they wanted to replicate the same thing here. For me to put that across and get Singapore girls here in the front end was very difficult. So what we cracked an idea is we will get people from the Northeast who look like Singaporeans, and then we recruited. It was a tough job to get people from Northeast, but we were successful in that. Plus, in the back end, we had all the people from the top IHMs, like the IMs in the hotel industry. You have IHMs. So I got people from Chennai, Hyderabad, Delhi, IHM Delhi, IHM Pusa, and places like that. So diversity and inclusion has been with me since 2007 and before. So it's not a new thing for me. And when especially it comes for food and beverage. And food and beverage industry is quite inclusive in nature. And few examples I wanted to share in the upcoming slides. Kalpana? Yeah, Nukkad is one of very unique cafes in India. It started in 2013, I should say. It employs almost 30 plus hearing impaired guys, drafts, and Down syndrome people. It has also employed around 20 odd transgender community members. And they have even done a social experiment like Tea and Tones, which is basically an open mic platform. and it is quite making good news around this kind of employment what Nukkad is doing. The second example which I want to bring to your notice is Mirchi and Mime. Here, if you closely come towards the your laptop screen, can you all come close to the laptop screen and see what's written at the back of his shirt? It says that I know sign language. What's your superpower? Yeah. So it itself says that this cafe, this food joint actually operates with people who have disability of hearing and speech, and they beautifully run the show. And they started this business in March 2015, and they are doing very well, I should say. And this concept was actually taken by the owner of Mirchi and Mime from a concept in Toronto. There was a restaurant called Science. So they took the same format, implemented it in India, and it is running super fine. So I'll urge everybody of you to visit one of these cafes and understand what is inclusion, what is diversity, and it will blow your mind off. The next example I wanted to share is of Ecos. It is again Delhi, guys. I am not sure how many people are from Delhi here, but I should say that if you find time, please go and visit this cafe. It runs on people who have hearing and speech impairments, but that doesn't compromises their service. Mind that as well. And they have very unique ways of calling out for things like for menu card, they have placards, water please, and with a light bulb, so you can call for the server. And now slowly they are getting into Kolkata and Bangalore. So that's from my end. Over to you, Krita.
Thanks, Davis. Thank you. So continuing the stories of these small setups, making big attempts in the stream of implementing diversity and inclusiveness, we also have something more for Bangaloreans here, which they can go and explore for themselves. This is Mitti Cafe. Now, this cafe is managed by persons with disabilities. The initiative is basically aimed to connect people, generate livelihoods for them, and create awareness about inclusion. They have a specific project which is called Inclusion in Every Meal, which is basically the brand of their outreach initiatives that they take. Basically, what they're intending to do is that adults with disabilities are able to lead a life which is with dignity and create an impact with every meal that they're serving. Today, they have about 16 joints in various institution campuses such as Wipro, Infosys, and Accenture. And I will circle back to what we talked about in our presentation about Wipro. Is one of the initiatives that Wipro has taken is engaging with vendors so that they are enabling this. And this is one of such vendor which is engaged with Wipro and is in one of the premises. So do visit any of these facilities, and you'll be able to have a first-hand view of how inclusiveness works there. Now from Bangalore, let's go and again back to Mumbai, where we have Cafe Arpan. The Cafe Arpan is an initiative run by a non-profit Yash Charitable Trust. You enter the place and you will find people with developmental and intellectual disabilities greeting you, serving you meal, and probably some of them, in the back of the kitchen, tossing up some sandwiches for you. So the trust is currently focusing on two mutually exclusive aspects of adult life, which is basically skilling and then supported employment for them. So what they're basically doing is providing a platform for people with such disabilities to skill themselves and easily transition into adulthood by providing opportunity to earn a livelihood. And then, yes, of course, having meaningful relationships within the community. Now, as a trust says, and I quote here, our team members are professionals who are treated with dignity and respect. And they highlight what this particular disability community can do if they're provided with the right guidance. So all these cases that we have gone through, the 5-6 cases that Davis and I have just shared with you, basically bring us to a question of how do we encourage the diversity in the workplace. We conclude that it is basically lack of awareness that leads to people being, say, awkward or inappropriate with people with disabilities, or say the third gender, as we saw in some of our cases. So it is important for us to have an open mind have conversations about the subject in our organizations with the employees which are around us or the managers around us. And most often it is the negative behavior of ours, which is, primarily based on the ignorance that we have on the subject. And hence awareness plays a very, very important role on creating diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So, while these sections of humans around us have embraced their truth, that they have got something different with them, I think it is now time for the rest of the world to embrace them and, include them more in whatever we are doing. To give you a gist of what probably organizations can do to promote more diversity or inclusion in their workplace, a few things that we have probably come up as a group that we would like to share here. To start with, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is educating the managers about the benefits of having diversity, educating the employees on how to be aware of the unconscious bias that they might be having, create policies which are more inclusive, and educate and make your employees more aware about those policies being in place. That can be done by offering meaningful opportunities for the employees to engage. Promoting pay equity can be, one of the key tools that the organizations can use. And most importantly, track the progress that as an organization you are making in this journey of becoming more diverse and inclusive over an extended period of time. Circle back and see what more you can do about that. I'll now hand over the baton to Navita to conclude it for us.
Okay, I think we can take a call here, everyone. The time is up. Exactly 25 minutes.
Just we need 30 seconds for now.
Maximum 1 minute. We started late.
No, we have given after that 25 minutes. So don't worry. There is a complete fairness maintained. Please take 30 seconds. Over to you.
Okay, just to conclude, thank you, Kriti. And just to conclude, diversity, just wanted to say, diversity is about representation or a makeup of an entity or a workforce, and inclusion is about how well the contributions, presence, and perspective of different group of people are valued and integrated into the environment. The goal of an employer should be to create a consistently high trust workplace experience for everyone, no matter who they are or what they do for the organization. It should be accumulation of day-to-day experiences that help people feel they belong, that their uniqueness, talent matter, and their individual needs are cared for by their colleagues and the leaders. When employee experience, the very human act of acknowledgement, inclusion, dignity, and compassion, it benefits both the individual employee and the organization and on the larger canvas of the society as whole. We Team Oneness would like to sum up by reciting few lines, if the time allows us, from famous poet Charles Benefit. I am diversity, please include me. I am present in every place you go. Depending on your lens, I am a friend or I am a foe. Coupled with inclusions, our lights burn longer. Together we are smarter, better and stronger. I am diversity, yes, that's me. Thank you from Team Oneness.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, everyone.